Are you struggling to book sales calls for your business using cold email? Well, if you run an agency or a B2B company, you know how frustrating it is to spend hours setting up a cold email campaign that ends up costing you a fortune and delivers no results. The truth is, cold email does work. In fact, it's still one of the most powerful ways to generate leads and close deals. But the problem is that most people are just using outdated tools and strategies that simply don't work in 2025. What worked 2 or 3 years ago isn't enough to get results today. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 most important cold email tools that will help you find high quality leads, scrape their email addresses at the lowest cost possible, verify those emails to make sure they're real and won't bounce, enrich your leads with extra data to personalize your outreach, and automate the entire process so you can reach hundreds of thousands of prospects every single month. Now, my name's Alex. I'm the founder of SparkLead, a cold email lead generation agency where we help B2B companies and agencies generate sales appointments. My team and I have sent millions of cold emails and generated hundreds of thousands in client results. And after testing countless tools, I found the 5 that are absolutely essential for running cold email campaigns at scale. These tools are the backbone of my business. And by the end of this video, my aim is for you to know exactly what to use and have an idea of how to use them. Let's get started. So now I'm going to walk you through the 5 tools that are essentially the backbone of my service. I'm going to go through the pricing of these tools, what exactly they do, and then I'll also give you like a quick tutorial of what they look like from the inside. So the first tool that I use is Apollo. Apollo is where I build the majority of my lead lists, and you can see the pricing right here. It's not that expensive. You can either go for the free plan, that's only going to give you 10 credits a month. You can go for the basic plan, that's going to give you 1,000 export credits a month, or the most popular one is $99 a month, and you could get 2,000 export credits per month. So export credits are just basically the amount of email addresses that you can export from the database every single month. So I'm going to show you now what Apollo looks like from the inside. If you haven't used it before, this might look a bit complicated, but all you need to look at is this left column right here, which is basically your filters. The first thing you always want to do is play around with the email status, and you want to tick verified and unverified. The reason why you do that is because if I actually open this up, you don't want to be looking at contacts that have an unavailable email address or if their email address needs updates. You just want verified and unverified. The reason why we also choose unverified is because we then go into another verification tool, which I'm going to go over later on in the video, which will allow you to then go ahead and verify all your email addresses. So once you do that, the next step is to come down to the industry and keywords. So I've just chosen 3 random industries here. Let's say I want to go after marketing and advertising, public relations and communication, and online media. And then I also want to narrow down my search even more so I can put down some keywords here. So Google, Meta, email marketing, web development. So I only want to go after these specific keywords within those industries above. And then you could also filter down by headcount. So let's say I want to go after 1 to 10, 11 to 20, and 21 to 50. And then you could also come here to set the location. So I'd say a good starting point is always to go after tier 1 English speaking countries. So you could go after the United States, you could go after the United Kingdom, you could go after Canada, you could go after Australia and New Zealand. And then if we do that, we essentially have 51,000 people that we can target. That's quite a big lead list. So then what we want to do is you want to go to the job titles. So let's say I'm selling accounting services to these companies. What I want to do is I want to go after the decision makers. For example, that could be the owner, founder, anyone in the C-suite, partner, VP, head, or directors. Now, as I said, let's say I'm selling accounting services. It means I want to go down into the department and I want to choose C-suite and finance, for example, departments. That's going to give me 17,000 prospects that I can reach out to. And this is basically just a super simple example of how I go ahead and build lead lists in Apollo. We have here the email status, the job titles based on department and management level. We have the location, we have headcount, industry keywords. If you're going after e-com brands, for example, you could always put a technology here as well, where you could put Shopify, you could put WooCommerce or any other technology that your target companies are using, and that'll help you narrow down your search even more. So that's basically all you need to do with Apollo. As I said, this is where I build the majority of my lead list. Super simple to use. And let's move on to the next tool. So the next tool that I use is Apify. This is where I scrape Apollo leads for dirt cheap. So in order to use Apify, I'm going to go back into Apollo. Once you build your lead list, the first thing you want to do is copy the URL. And once you copy the URL, you're going to come back into Apollo. You're going to go to store and you're going to type in Apollo Scraper. Once you type that, you're going to choose the first one that says scrape up to 50K leads. And you're going to come here and you're going to paste your Apollo URL into this search bar. Now, in Apollo, we have 17,000 leads that we can reach out to. So the total number of records here, I'm just going to type in 17,000. And keep in mind that just so you can understand how dirt cheap Apify is, you can scrape 1,000 leads for $1.20. So if you want to scrape 17,000 records, it means it's going to cost you $17, which is basically dirt cheap if you compare it to Apollo or any other database and their subscriptions. So all you need to do after this point is press save and start, and then it's just going to start scraping it automatically. You don't need to do anything else. And then once it's ready, you're just going to go ahead and export the CSV file, and then you're pretty much done. So that's exactly how I use Apify. This is pretty much all you need to know. So now you know exactly how to build a lead list and how to scrape those leads for a fraction of the price. Now, the next tool that I use is ListKit. Now, ListKit has multiple functions. You can build lead lists exactly like I did in Apollo, but you can also use their email verification tool to go ahead and verify your email addresses. Now, the reason why I use ListKit for email verification is because I was previously signed up to their scale plan, so I already had a bunch of email verification credits. But because it's slightly on the pricier side of things here, it might not be worth using ListKit if you're just using it for email verification, because you also get email credits just like you do in Apollo. So it would make sense to use ListKit if you're also going to be building lead lists on ListKit as well, which you can definitely do. If you just want a verification tool because you're building your lists on Apollo and then scraping them through Apify, then I recommend using a tool like Million Verifier, where you could just go ahead here, you choose how many emails you want to verify, it'll calculate the price. It's going to be cheaper than ListKit if you're just using it for email verification, and then that's pretty much it. You just want to import the CSV file that you downloaded from Apify, and then you just want to import it in here so it can verify your email addresses. And once it verifies the email addresses, you only want to take the good ones. If you want to take the risky emails as well, you need to use other tools as well to validate those risky emails, but I wouldn't recommend doing that if you're just starting out to keep things simple. So just to recap so far, you're going to build your lead list in Apollo. You're then going to go and scrape those leads for dirt cheap using Apify, and then you come into ListKit if you've already got email verification credits, or Million Verifier to then go ahead and verify the email addresses that you've scraped. Now, the fourth tool that I use, which is an absolute game changer in the cold email industry, is Clay. So Clay is where you're going to come and import your verified email list to then enrich the data further. So Clay is on the pricier side of things. So if I go down to the pricing, you'll typically get the starter package. If I go to pay monthly, the starter package is $150 a month. And then the most popular one, which is the Explorer package, is $350 a month. Now, this is not a must, but if you are a bit more flexible with your budget, then I'd highly recommend using Clay, because it's just going to take your cold email game to a whole different level. So let me just show you what Clay looks like from the inside. What I've got right here in front of me is just a lead list that I imported. And as you can see here, all these different columns are different pieces of information about these prospects. So we have their LinkedIn profile, their full name, first name, last name, their job title, their email address, company name, website, company LinkedIn, headcount, city, and country. So all this information so far are things that you can get from Apollo. Apollo can give you all this information. Now, where Clay comes in is if you want to enrich this data further. So here's what you need to do. You just need to go to Add Enrichment, and the first thing I recommend doing is normalizing the company name. So essentially, you would come here, you would click on Normalize Company Name, and then what this would do in the company name column, if you had any companies that, for example, said Data Basics and had Inc. at the end of it, or if it was Data Basics Ltd, for example, what Clay would do, it would just normalize the data and remove all these extra unnecessary details to clean up the company name. The next thing you could do in the enrichment section is you could use Claygent. Now, Claygent is essentially an AI web scraper. So what you would do, there's a bunch of different prompts here. If I go to Browse Templates and I just go to a couple of public templates, one example of what you could do is you could find the ICP of a given company from their website. So let's say you're targeting marketing agencies and those marketing agencies work with e-com brands. Claygent could then scrape that marketing agency's website and identify the fact that that marketing agency works with e-com brands, so you can then call that out in your scripts. And as you can see here, there's a bunch of different templates that you can use here in order to enrich your data further. Another useful way to use Clay is you can use Claygent once again to scrape the prospect's LinkedIn profile to call out how many years they've been working at their company. So for example, if we take this person right here in the first row, who's a vice president at Data Basics, you could use Claygent to go ahead and check how long he's been working at Data Basics, so you can then call that out in your script once again. So as you can see, Clay is extremely powerful, and it can definitely take your cold email game to a different level. It's going to give you the type of data that it's just going to make your email stand out in your prospect's inbox. It makes a big difference to be able to send an email and call out how many years someone's been at their current job role, or to be able to call out certain case studies, certain podcasts that people have been on, certain blogs that they've written, or even just to be able to call out the type of clients that they would want to work with. So for example, in my case, I sell lead generation services. If I could reach out to a marketing agency that works with real estate companies, and I could mention that, I could get you in touch with more real estate companies, it makes a big difference as opposed to me just saying I can get you more clients. So that's how to use Clay. I can make a whole separate tutorial going into more detail about how to use Clay, but this is definitely a tool I'd recommend using if you're sending cold emails at scale. Now, the final tool that I highly recommend you use is smartlead.ai. This is a sending tool that I use to send hundreds of thousands of emails every single month. So as you can see from the pricing right here, the basic plan is $39 a month. It means that you can send 6,000 emails per month and you can have 2,000 active leads. If you want to go for the pro plan, it means you can have 30,000 active leads and send 150,000 emails per month. Or if you want to send more than 150,000 emails per month, you could just go for the custom plan. Now, for people who are just getting started with Smart Lead, something that I'd highly recommend is if you go to resources, you could go to Smart Lead University, and the team here at Smart Lead has a bunch of videos going over everything you need to know to be able to use the tool in the most optimal way. So this is what it looks from the inside. You've got the campaigns, you've got your master inbox, you've got your email accounts, you can manage your leads here, you can manage your client access, and you can also view the global analytics. So it's super easy to use. And as you can see here, you've also got smart lead demos, you've got copywriting classes, you've got automations, APIs, deliverability and infrastructure. There's literally videos covering everything that you need to know for free. So I highly recommend you doing that. And I can guarantee that once you actually watch all the videos, you'll have a very good understanding of how to use the tool in the most optimal way. So just to recap, my 5 favorite cold email tools to use in 2025 are Apollo for my lead lists, Apify to then scrape those leads. Then I use a Listkit or Million Verifier to verify those email addresses. I then import the CSV files into Clay to enrich the data further. And then finally, I export my lead list from Clay and import it into SmartLead, which is the sending tool that I use to send hundreds of thousands of emails every single month. With these tools, you now have pretty much everything you need to run cold email campaigns that actually generate results. Having said that, knowing what tools to use is just one part of the equation, and knowing how to use them in the most optimal way is what really makes a difference. So if you don't want to spend the time figuring all this out yourself, and you just want us to book qualified sales calls for you, then click the first link in the description. Once you're on there, just watch the video and book a call if you're ready to start booking meetings on autopilot. I hope you found this video valuable. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below with your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one.